What do Europe's CEOs think it will take to build a more sustainable and competitive Europe? Well, that was the question that INSEAD and Accenture put to 250 CEOs, many of whom were INSEAD alums, by the way. And we're at the European Business Summit in Brussels today, and we're talking with two of the INSEAD people who put the study together. Bruno Lambin, you are the Executive Director of eLab, and Niels Famstad, you are the Senior Research Fellow. And between the two of them, you came up with a report that says putting Europe back on track. Your report mentions that Europe needs to recover stronger. Now, what does that mean exactly? Bruno, maybe you want to start.
Well, it means that there is a before and an after to every crisis. And the belief among many analysts and observers is that indeed in Europe everybody is pessimistic. Yet what this survey shows is that as far as CEOs are concerned, they see reasons why indeed Europe will emerge stronger from the crisis, because it will have better governance in the financial sector, because it will have a new basis for longer term competitiveness, and because it will come with just a cleaner state of mind to attack other markets around the world.
That sounds like a lessons learned kind of philosophy.
A few that really stand out is the importance of growth, the focus on growth, and growth in at least three ways. One is increasing engagement between Europe and the rest of the world, with the United States, with emerging economies. That's essential going forward. Second is increasing entrepreneurship, both with regards to the mindset and with regards to skills. And then finally, making a better environment for SMEs to grow. If SMEs can grow, then unemployment decreases.
What emerges from this report is that the key word in Europe for the coming 10 years is innovation.
Now, you mentioned innovation, and clearly everything you've talked about talks about the person of the CIO, but this kind of thinking goes throughout an entire company. How do you do that, which is risk-taking, uncertain territory, with the need to be really focused on saving money, maybe letting people go, cutting back on this hand, and yet making sure that you've got a tomorrow? How do you balance that?
It's true that one of the lessons we have to accept from areas where technological innovation is very fast is that some jobs become obsolete. Now, what do? Do you let people go to recruit new people, or do you reskill people so they can take advantage of the new opportunities? Clearly, it's a mixture of both.
Yeah.
But there's no solution unless you look at your economy as a whole. That is not just one sector or even one enterprise, it's the whole economy that needs to be looked at. And more often, that economy is not even a national economy. Europe as such is a 500 million people market that needs to be looked at as one single economy to reap the full benefits of innovation.
What are CEOs worried about here? I mean, does this scenario, the going forward, cutting back, uncertainty, 500 million people, a wobbly currency, what are they worried about?
They're worried about, one of the top things that they're worried about are bureaucratic challenges. There's still a lot of red tape. There's still a lot of red tape that's in the way. And frankly, that's in their way as they try to reposition themselves. So the world stage has changed, and they need to be able to adapt to that much more quickly. They're actually the second worry is that foundation could erode with new efforts to try to control the crisis. Austerity packages risk really damaging this foundation, and instead the good CEOs are asking to focus on growth. So and basically building on the foundation.
But let me end by asking each of you your crystal ball view of what I suggest might be the new world economic order here. I mean, you're talking about something different. So 3 to 5 years down the road, what do you see? What does the report tell you?
I see a lot more small to medium-sized enterprises contributing to GDP. It's the role of large firms is going to be limited to providing core business process operations, and the role of SMEs are going to be much more substantial.
Bruno, would you elaborate on that or agree with it?
No, I totally agree. I would add that I see an increasing degree of interaction between government and business. I think the crisis has taught one or two lessons to European business. One of them is that when you need to reconcile short-term and long-term, you need governance. it's clear that the consensus among business is that protectionism is a bad thing. Okay? In the longer run, everybody will suffer if free trade is being further damaged. On the other hand, they said, but I'm in a sector that may be exposed if we free trade. So I need some government intervention, some safety nets to guarantee that the people who are going to lose their job because of more open trade are not going to be left out with any kind of support or possibilities to get a new job. So they need governments to reconcile the short term and the long term. On the other hand, the example of Asia, which is leading the recovery, a large majority of CEOs in the survey said Asia will undoubtedly emerge as the winner of this crisis. Asia is one example where government and business have been working hand in hand. Of course, there's the obvious example of China. Singapore is another example where consultation between business and government has actually been very productive and led to the rates of growth that we have seen over the last decades.
I hope we'll get a chance to talk about this and other things again. Thank you both very much for being with us on INSEAD Knowledge.
Thank you.
Shelley.